Ms. Wang, a Wuhan resident, said her husband first developed a fever on January 12. They went to the hospital the next day, but they were told the disease wasn't infectious and that there was no need to transfer him to the Department of Infectious Diseases.
When he started to show symptoms, we did not know it was this particular kind of disease at all. Everything was covered up and muffled. We knew nothing.
On January 11th, the day before Wang's husband fell sick, China reported the first known death from an illness caused by the virus. The same day, Wuhan health authorities claimed there was no evidence of human-to-human transmission. It wasn't until more than a week later, on January 20th, that a medical expert officially admitted that the virus can spread from person to person.
He was really sick and his high fever went on for days, but the hospital said it can be prevented and controlled.
Wang said the hospital quickly transferred her husband to the Department of Infectious Diseases after his condition deteriorated, but doctors didn't reveal what kind of disease had sickened him. Throughout his hospitalization, the hospital also refused to say whether her husband had tested positive for the virus.
We family members were not informed of the result from his PCR test. The hospital didn't allow us to see it. They refused to give us the answer even though we asked.
The condition of Wang's husband continued to deteriorate until he died on February 6, less than a month after falling ill. He left behind Wang, their elderly parents, and their middle school-aged son. Wang said the term coronavirus was mentioned on her husband's death notice.
Every single day, tears would run down my face. I was suffering so much. During that time, I felt such despair and fear. I was really mentally and physically devastated. After my husband had passed, even today, I still can't sleep at night. I just can't fall asleep.
Wang only learned of her husband's death after receiving a phone call during her mandatory quarantine. She wasn't even allowed to leave quarantine to see his body.
I couldn't even attend my husband's funeral. I was really crushed. I called the authorities in my area, crying and begging, but they still refused to let me go.
Wang's son didn't know about his father's death until he saw the ashes that were brought home. Wang also didn't dare to tell her husband's elderly mother about his passing until after the burial. She feared that his mom would have a fatal heart attack when she found out. Wang said if she had known how severe the situation was earlier, she wouldn't have let her husband stay at the hospital. That way, they could have avoided the ineffective treatments. She says they may have even caused her husband's health to deteriorate and ultimately led to his death.
When things like this happen to a family, the entire family is ruined. Now I don't have any hope and I don't have any way out.
Wang, who has been laid off since 2002 and is now widowed, didn't get any relief money from the government, except for $420 when her husband's body was buried. She explained that now she's having a very hard time raising her young son. She's also struggling to afford medicine for herself, as her lungs are also infected.
Maybe it would even have been better if I had passed away with my husband back then. Then it'd be all over. I now live a life worse than death.